As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be
Oh
a
man,
home
it's
run.
8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a...
I don't need the spotlight. I shine just fine.
Hi, I'm Karma, and yes, I am a bitch.
Brav Bros. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brav Bros, your favorite podcast from the bros for everybody, for whoever wants to listen. I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the... Oh, I was trying to think of a good adjective, and then I was going to say a mean one, and then I felt bad, so you know what? Joined as always by the one and only Shooter Magooter, the one and only Magoots, everyone's favorite goot, my goot, Magoots. What's up, dude?
Yeah, now you're just overcompensating.
Story of my life.
What a time. I can currently hear the helicopters buzzing around my house and a lot of
They finally
cheering
found you,
stuff
huh?
going on.
Oh,
They what? Huh? For what?
they finally got the old goots.
They finally got the goots. But no, we are here to talk a little Potomac. And I thought this, as I typically do during shows like this, or episodes like this, I should say. This is one of the more chaotic but fun episodes that I've seen in a while. And it really was 3 scenes. And it's incredible that they were able to get an entire episode out of this. But there was so much going on. And all I could think about was my dear friend sitting out there at his house in his back room trying to take notes. And how chaotic that must have been.
Yeah, it was not the most note-friendly episode, but that's okay because if that's what you're giving me to watch, I'm okay with chaotic note-taking because what a great episode. This was one of the more entertaining episodes I've seen, period, across all shows recently, but for Potomac specifically, this may have been the best episode in 3 years.
Yeah.
Just entertainment value, newcomers that are standing their ground, holding their own and challenging some of the old guard. And it just was this perfect chaotic mess at Lake Norman, and everybody's bringing it. And things in the past that might have irritated me, like Mia going over the top, she has now gotten to a point where it's like, that's what you can expect from her. And she's playing her part. So I appreciate that. Like I said, the newbies, they're doing a great job. They're all so different, which brings a fun dynamic. And then you get Wendy, who's the surprise of the season, playing this new role of just kind of, she's involved but not taking a side necessarily.
Yeah.
And just
She's
kind of
calling out
pushing
shit when she sees it. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's great. And then look, the delusion that Karen has and her living in Delulu land with this DUI is off-putting at times. The fact that she's incapable of taking accountability. That being said, she's still fucking great TV, dude. Like, you can't deny that she is awesome to watch. And there's so many other housewives that if they took this approach to their DUI or a major lawsuit would be really irritating. She's not. It works somehow. And again, reprehensible that you can't just say, yeah, I fucked up. But at the same time, she's fucking entertaining. I can't put my finger on it.
She's very entertaining, but she has done something that probably only Karen can do with something that is this dark and heavy. And obviously she needs to take some accountability at some point. But the more that she drags this on, the more ridiculous it gets. And then the funnier it gets. You know what? Nobody actually got hurt in any of this. So I feel okay finding the humor in all of it because of how ridiculous Karen is. It's just wild to me that she is taking the stance and she's not backing down from it. Even at the end of the episode, she's still sitting there laughing about it. Like, how is she able to do this? I just don't know. The normal human psyche would only be able to handle so much. You throw a normal person that just went through what Karen did into a reality TV environment, and they are going to crack almost instantly. She has been able to weather the storm and from episode 1 and deflect and
with support.
People. I know, it's insane. It has gotten so ridiculous that it's fucking hilarious. It has gotten to that point, and I don't think that anybody else could do this as well as Karen's doing it. And I'm finding so much humor in it all. And you said it well. The newbies are showing up in so many different ways. Kierna is so much different than Jazzy. Jazzy is so much different than Stacey. I feel so bad for Stacey.
Stacey's on an island. Stacey, she's great for the show, don't get me wrong, but for
Yeah.
such a different reason than everybody. Like, she is so different than everybody else. And the way that she's still so innocent seeming, it's like, dude,
Yeah.
and the fact that she's dating a guy that she can't date, and they're not even like, they don't even hug really. That was awkward. Like, it's
Yeah.
just very different than anybody else that we have on this show.
I've been trying to figure out a way, like a very simple way to explain Stacey, and I don't know if I'm settling on buttoned up or oblivious, and I just can't figure out which one is better for her.
Probably a little bit of I would not oblivious. I would say naive, maybe. Like,
Naive is a good one. Yeah, I went
is-
a little overboard on that, but yeah, naive is a really good one.
she's very trusting of people on the show with no basis. And she's known Karen for a while, so like, yeah, you trust your friends, but
Part
she
of
hasn't been in this realm before
Mhm.
where you can't take everything at face value because there's usually more to it. It's usually people deflecting or trying to point you in a different direction. So I think like naivete is probably more of where she's living because maybe she doesn't want to believe certain things about certain people. But
What
that's
was
that
that word? Can you do that again?
naivete. That's
I've
like
never heard
being,
that before.
that's like being naive.
I know what it's supposed to mean. I just never heard that before.
That's a word. You can Google it, dickhead.
Wow, I thought you were
Yeah, you're
speaking a
welcome.
different language to me.
No, that's the English major in me comes out every once in a while. I don't have my English degree. I was getting it, and then I realized I don't want to go back to college to finish.
No, I feel
so
like
I
you did
started a
Jimmy too when
podcast
you said it.
instead.
Naivete.
Little naivete. Ew. What were we talking about? Because now
I don't know.
I sounded smart and now I sound stupid. So let's get into the episode. What do you say? So we start out. We're still at the night before and the phone call thing, and Karen is good at deflecting. That being said, they didn't really grill her on it. It's almost like Mia wanted to let her know, like, hey, you're not as clean as you think you are, but she didn't press her about the whole thing. What was more damning, I think, and the fact that it got brushed off so easily, and I would argue would be even more damning to her court case than just talking about her original DUI, is admitting to getting drunk, getting in her car and driving, and then pulling over because she realized she shouldn't be driving. It's like, you don't get like a gold medal for realizing in the moment, like, oop, probably shouldn't be doing this, pull over. You shouldn't get behind the wheel, and you've arguably just admitted to another DUI. Like, what?
I don't know how she's able to do that and not talk about the current state of what's going on with the second DUI that we know about, that you're able to actually just divulge that information in the midst of all of this. Now, Mia is not exactly the best source of information, so anything that she says, I typically just don't believe. I never take
Karen confirmed it.
I know, and then Karen confirms it and says, "You know what? I don't know. I was with my driver, so I just said something like that." I do think that there's a chance that it was completely innocuous and she was just hammered and thought, "Oh, these girls think that my husband's picking me up, but it's just my driver." And Karen, I'm sure, flirts with every driver that she has.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's probably part of it. And on the phone, she probably was flirting and said, "Oh, these girls think I'm with my husband, but I'm with this strapping young man driving me home," flirting with the guy who probably didn't want anything to do with her, but he's driving her home. I think that's probably what happened. I don't think it was any worse than that. But Mia bringing it up in a salacious way is, of course, what Mia is going to do. And for some reason, we just kind of blow right past everything. She admits to driving the car, and everyone laughs and says, "Well, you did a good job there, Karen." Did she?
She says, I knew better. It's like, you didn't. You knew after the
at
fact and
first.
pulled over because you were seeing double and were like, whoop, maybe not tonight. Like, it was crazier. I didn't
Saw another
care.
deer.
Like, yeah, another deer came out of nowhere. That was my omen to pull over. No, but I didn't care about the salacious rumors of her potentially being with another dude. I was like, whatever. This is kind of, we've heard about the blue-eyed man before. Like, we've heard inklings here and there. Ashley says that she's seen and heard certain things. Like, there's a lot of evidence out
I
there.
also never believe Ashley.
You have to take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But where there's smoke, there's usually fire. This has been a recurring theme of Karen's over the years, where it's like question marks about certain things, and She's allowed to flirt according to Ray, but she's not allowed to do
Mhm.
certain things past a certain, like there's a lot of weird dynamics at play here. The most shocking thing, once again, is her arguably saying, I did it again, but didn't get caught and had the the mindset to at least pull over and not make it worse. It's like, that's not good. You can't
Did
talk,
it
like you
again.
said, you can't talk about your current DUI that you're getting charged for in a criminal court, but you can pretty much admit to doing it again. Like
Yeah,
that.
pretty
And
much.
no one says a word other than good for you for pulling over.
Yeah.
And it's the crazy thing throughout this whole episode is watching the lackeys that she has, like this team that will not question what she's doing just because they've known her for a while. And I guess they're getting used to the show. Stacey's like, they just won't leave Karen alone. It's like, well, yeah, because she's not answering for, and we find out later why Stacey's so quick to be like, what's your problem with her? Because she doesn't know about everything going on.
Which
And like,
is crazy.
I know, but that makes sense to me though. If she's hanging around with Karen more and Karen is claiming,
And not talking about it.
these are allegations. This is not proof
No,
yet.
I don't think Stacey knew anything. She didn't
You don't
even
think
know
she
that there was
knows?
anything that happened. No. She was
Oh,
so taken aback at the end. I don't think Stacey knew a thing about this.
that okay. I didn't gather that. Maybe
Even crazier.
that would be way more wild. But like the ability of Karen, while she is the one under scrutiny to deflect, she is the best deflector I've ever seen in my life. She gives like rah speeches about being true to yourself and
Mhm.
speaking your truth, and everything will be okay. Jaqueline, who's nuts, but at the very least can point out the deflection that's going on. Like she looks terrible these couple of episodes. She's not looking great for herself just because she's leaning on Mia again, but she's the only one calling Karen out and really holding her to the fire. Like, yeah, Mia planned this whole thing and planned for Joy to be there to bring this up so she could throw this shade at Karen. But again, she wasn't trying to like stick the dagger in. It was just more to like stumble Karen a little bit. Like
Mhm.
this whole scene was kind of strange to me. And then Kierna, along with Stacey, defends a grieving Karen, saying she's going through a lot right now. This is self-inflicted. There should be no sympathy when you have somebody denying their part in their own. It's not like somebody else was in the car. The deer didn't jump behind the wheel and swerve into a tree. That's not what happened. She got her second DUI, and Stacey and Kierna are so quick to be like, she's going through it, guys. Let's give her some grace. It's like, this is her second. She just admitted to a third that we're not discussing. Everyone's going to gloss over that and give her props for pulling over. No, she deserves to be held to the fire and questioned about her behavior. But Karen is the Grande Dame for a reason. She's been playing this game for a long time. Sidestep, deflect, point the finger elsewhere. We're scot-free. Give one rah-rah speech. No one's going to remember I just admitted to a third DUI, and let's move on to tomorrow. It's masterful.
It's unbelievable that she's able to get away with all of that. And I thought the same thing that you did. Immediately stop right at the fact that she was driving. Like,
That's
how is
it.
nobody call her out? In the midst of what's going on, you're all going to your confessionals and talking about how she's not talking about it. She won't acknowledge it. She won't take any responsibility. She won't admit any fault. But when she admits to doing this, nobody says, oh, you did it again? What the fuck?
The only ones that do are Mia, Ashley, and Jaqueline after the fact. Are like, she just admitted to getting behind the wheel drunk. It's like, thank you. I thought I was taking crazy pills. At least somebody heard that, because that's what I heard, and no one talked about it. But we get a really funny Bravo editing moment. And when their edits are good, I do really appreciate it, because a lot of times they whiff. But Stacey's getting a FaceTime from her best friend TJ. I was like, ooh, that was good. That was really funny. The way that, I forget who describes it. Maybe it was Wendy. Yeah, it was Wendy. Like, this is the virgin couple from Bible school.
Yep.
Was like the nail on the head. Like the way that they're talking, and there's something, I don't know, sweet and innocent about this, because they're both so like weirdly giddy. And it is like you're seeing two like teenagers like, ooh, I love you. Like, oh, you're not gonna say it. I was saying, I love you too. Tell all your friends about me. I'll do you one better. You guys want to say hi to TJ? Like, it was cringy as fuck, honestly, but at the same time, sweet. And
It's
it's hard to
it's
put my
just
finger on it, but there was
it,
something
it's
nice about it.
yeah, it's just really interesting because we have a lot of questions about their relationship, but they're not the normal questions that we have about weird relationships.
No,
Usually we see toxic relationships and we see a guy manipulating a girl on a phone. He's not manipulating her. It seems like he is who he is, and he's very straightforward about who he is. And Stacy's trying to navigate through all of that, but it's not the oh, he's definitely like seeing other girls. He's definitely just stringing her along.
no,
There's
he
none of
certainly is not.
there is none of that. I have
Definitely
no
not.
idea what's going on here, but I do agree with you. It's weird, and it's I don't even want to use the word refreshing because I'm still very confused by it all, but it can be seen as refreshing because it is so sweet and innocent. It is
It's
very,
something.
oh my God, do you guys love each other? That's so cool. Good for you
Oh my
guys. This is
God, are we going to date?
and Wendy coming up being like, it's kind of embarrassing, but yeah,
Yeah,
all right.
it is in a way, but at the same time, like, endearing. There's
But
something.
he's allowing them. And when Stacy brings up that people were asking questions, I even said to myself, I'm like, are they? Does anybody really care that much? And
No
they
one
did,
seems to
but
care.
I just kind of glossed over it. They were talking about it on the boat, but it was more about how Ashley blew up his spot or her spot, however you want to look at it. That's really it. So her saying everybody's asking questions, he got excited about that. He's like, are they really? That's
We
nice.
like
You
that.
can
And
tell them
she's like, are you doing what we talked about? Are you talking about me? It's like, this is
yeah,
kind of like, he
it's
clearly
nice.
doesn't want to hide. Like, he's clearly happy to be
Yeah.
with you. It's just we don't understand how this relationship works yet. It's
Yeah.
confusing, and it's in I don't know. We're not used to innocent. We're used to toxic as fuck. So we're
No.
like, I don't know what to do with this yet. Stay tuned,
Yeah, between
everybody.
TJ and Greg, oh dude, I almost
When they
lost it a little bit
accused
later.
Greg of being a drug dealer, I almost
Wasn't
lost my
Greg.
shit.
It
It
wasn't
wasn't
Greg.
Greg. I
I
know.
flipped.
I had
I
to.
don't you dare talk about Greg like that. We love Greg.
Our sweet, sweet Greg, you leave him out of this
You
because
leave
Greg,
him out
he
of
has
this.
a mental health facility, and you
Uh-huh.
throwing out drug dealer without clarifying, I was upset. It's like, you don't
Greg's a
fucking
good
come
dude.
for Greg. Yeah,
Don't fucking talk about Greg.
we still need our Greg shirts to just say Greg on them. But we get 3 minutes till the birthday, and it was a sad scene. It was a little bit of a sad scene. Everyone's sitting there on their phones, but yay, Wendy's 40. Like, let's celebrate. And she predicts a dramaless birthday, which
Sure.
that's never going to work. But shout out Wendy for doing something that I do too frequently, trying to combine words to make a word. She's like, Wednesday's day, Wednesday. I'm like, I would have done the same thing and Shooter would have gotten upset with me. So I appreciate that she's trying to make it work. I don't think she landed on anything. Wednesday's day. It's
Wednesday
Wednesday.
is the closest.
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, but it's also Saturday.
Wednesday. No, it's Wednesday.
But it's
Wendy's
also
day.
Saturday.
Yeah, it's Wednesday, but it's Saturday. You get it.
Yep.
I think everybody understands what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
But Jaqueline and Mia are having a little chit chat just about Karen in that situation, which I do. I feel bad for Jaqueline. I think she's catching a lot of shit for a pretty. No, just hear me out. I think that her comment.
Oh.
No, don't get me wrong. She's a nightmare. But just in the Karen Jaqueline thing, like what she said at that Inquisition lunch, as we like to call it, wasn't that bad. She just brought up like something that, by the way, was reiterated by multiple women in the group. Gizelle said it. She's like, I've gotten those phone calls too. She's clearly drunk during the day. Was it shady for her to bring it up? Yeah. But Karen getting so stuck to that, to me, just further proves the point that you probably were a little bit drunk and you called her. You're not doing yourself any favors by attacking Jaqueline over this one thing when you could be going after a lot of people. I guess that's my issue with it and where I feel bad for just that, because everything else she does, like she's a lunatic, especially when it comes to Mia and that whole situation.
Jaqueline sucks.
I'm not defending Jaqueline.
No, I know. But Jaqueline is just the sacrificial lamb, and she's the easiest sacrificial lamb of all time.
2 years in a
She
row,
can't
3 years in a row.
She can't defend herself. The person that she aligns herself with in Mia does not actually defend her. Mia was just using the fact that Karen went after Jaqueline so that Mia could go after Karen.
Correct.
And that's all she really wanted to do. It has nothing to do with Jaqueline. She's not defending your honor. You are attached at the hip, but Mia can move on without you. easily.
Yeah.
She will throw you under the bus the first chance that she gets.
She already has.
She is somebody that I guess you can look at and feel upset about. You can feel sorry for her, but I don't. Because
Oh,
every
no, no.
time that Jaqueline tries to defend herself or open her mouth, she just looks like an idiot and she says the craziest shit. And it's not in a good way. It's in a, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to yourself? You're just doing all of this to yourself at this point. And I don't know why she bothers anymore. I truly don't. I don't know why she's even on the show, because everything that she says is stupid and it comes back to hit her in the face. It's just crazy to me that she's doing this, because she could, again, be looked at as somebody that you would feel sorry for. But every time that you feel sorry for her, she does something else. You're like, never mind. I don't really care about you.
I firmly agree with everything you're saying. I'm simply objectively saying what she said to Karen does not warrant the reaction that she's getting from Karen. That's all I'm saying. I just don't think that the punishment fits the crime. You're saying that because you don't like her. That's all. You understand what I'm saying. Like, you know exactly what I'm saying.
She's
what she
ill-equipped
said
to go after Karen.
Absolutely, but the level of what she said versus what Mia's saying versus what some of the other girls are gossiping about in the group, that's not the same. And I think that the obvious answer here is Karen sees a weakling in Jaqueline. It's like, all right, well, if you're going to swing at the king, you best not miss. The Grande Dame's going to rake you over the coals right now. So yeah, I get what I'm just saying. I don't think what she said was worth the reaction she's getting from Karen. That's all. All right. Now moving on. Because we're talking about Gordon and the bizarre relationship between him and Mia. And we're also, this is the hardest part when it comes to Mia dictating a scenario. We're taking it at her word. I don't trust Mia at all.
No.
Like negative, I trust Mia. So she's relaying the information. Do I think Gordon's like this stand-up great dude? No, not at all. But at the same time, I have to take everything you're saying with a grain of salt, because you're describing this bizarre scenario, and Jaqueline, of all people, has a pretty good handle on it, where she's like, yeah, I think that him saying you're using him, I understand where he's coming from, because you moving into the same building was weird, and you doing these trips with him and saying I love you to him is weird, and it does lead him on a little bit. And it's so obvious what's happening. She wants her cake and wants to eat it too. And yeah, is Gordon kind of wacky and maybe going, what did she say? He has mania? Is that correct?
Yeah,
is that
she said
real?
he's like, yeah, mania is real. It's like being
No, I know. Whoa, I know mania is real. I'm saying, is that yeah, whoa. I'm saying,
like, whoa.
No. Come on now. I'm saying, is that a confirmed diagnosis that happened last year and I missed it? I didn't watch the whole season last year because I bowed out. I'm imagining there's some truth to it. Okay,
kind of, sort of, but again, this is from Mia, so who really knows?
I imagine there's some truth. My point is, if he is manic or if there is mania happening, you're certainly not helping the situation by keeping him so close at an arm's length. And definitely, there's no fucking way that there are clear boundaries and lines drawn from Mia, because she doesn't want there to be clean lines and boundaries, because she wants to have him at her beck and call, but at the same time wants to pursue this relationship with Ink. So you get the best of both worlds. Gordon is a stone's throw away in your apartment, but at the same time, you can lean on the fact like, oh, Gordon, he's really overwhelming and he won't leave me alone. And it's a lot for me to take care of him financially. And I'm the hero in this scenario. And meanwhile, I'm trying to be right by Gordon. But at the same time, I love Ink. And it's the best of both worlds for Mia. Like I said, having your cake and eating it too. It's not great for Gordon. This is a confusing scenario.
It's definitely, well, let's try to alleviate some of the confusion then. If I had to
alleviate, Daddy.
If I had to guess, I'd imagine that Gordon is still paying for a lot of different things when it comes to Mia and the kids.
The finances with Mia are such a question mark since the rental house that I don't believe anything.
She is a self-made entrepreneur and millionaire, if you're going to take her for her word later when she says that at the breakfast table. But I imagine there is some financial support coming from Gordon. I imagine that he is on her beck and call whenever she needs him to watch the kids so that she can go on an excursion with Jaqueline or Ink or whoever. When she needs to do that, she can just walk down the hall and say, here, watch the kids for a little while. I'm going out. And then come back like 2 or 3 days later. This is just what you have to deal with. You do not get to play the sympathetic card and play the victim and saying, as soon as I go out of town, Gordon's going to be texting me all the time. One, he's probably watching the kids and texting you because he's watching the kids. Two, this is what you have to put up with because you do want this. You do want Gordon to be there. And if this is what you have to deal with, that's the least of your concerns. He also has the paternity test looming over him. So he's probably not in a good headspace because you allow this to go on. You can put your foot down whenever you want and say, it's not that big of a deal. We're not going to do this. I'm not doing a paternity test because you have been there for Jeremiah and you can deal with this. This is your son. He is a part of your life and you're going to continue to be his father. We're not going to have to worry about this on our side. And that would help. I'm sure that would help Gordon a lot. But you have to deal with this shit because of the way that you treat him. You're going to let him worry about this. You're going to let him into your life. You're going to be able to have him watching the kids and giving you financial support. The least of your concerns should be a couple of text messages, especially when you're telling him that you love him. Like, what are you doing? So
That's
no,
confusing to him.
Yeah.
And like financially, I don't know, right? That's the hardest part because we're supposed to take her at her word, but we also took her and I'm not saying I'm saying based on what she's telling us, but we also heard that her and G owned all of those chiropractor places and come to find out like she was the quote unquote CEO, but was that like there's too many question marks financially about her past. And then it always for me goes back to the rental house that they allegedly poured like 60 grand of renovations into, which will never make sense to me. So when it comes to the finances, do I believe that she's more financially independent now? Yeah, probably. She's making good money from the show. If she does have businesses still, then yeah, I imagine she's doing well enough to help out with Gordon. But we don't really know. We don't know what Gordon is making, if he's making anything. Is he fully reliant on Mia? That would change the scenario a lot. But again, I have to take it at Mia's word, and I can't do that because she's not trustworthy.
If Gordon was fully reliant on Mia would tell us that.
She did in this episode, essentially.
But she would boast about it and she would say, now I have to deal with this. And she would make sure that everybody knew that she is financially supporting him, emotionally supporting him, mentally supporting him, whatever it might be. She has to do all of this for Gordon. She's just complaining about him texting her and the fact that she's leading him on. I don't think that that's the case. I think that he is. Yes, I do agree with you. I think that she is financially independent, more financially independent than she was before. But there's still something that's just not adding up.
We don't have all the info.
You don't keep Gordon that close and then complain about it if there's not some sort of strategic benefit to having him that close.
Unless it's simply for, a built-in babysitter. Like maybe that's all it is.
And unfortunately, Mia personally hasn't done enough for me to say, oh, she's just being a good person.
No.
Gordon close.
Come on. No, there's a reason.
There's a small handful of people across the Bravo network that I would say that about. Mia is not one of them. Nope. So that's not the case for sure.
No, this is advantageous in some way, shape, or form. We just don't know what it is yet. And maybe it is as simple as he's able to watch the kids. And, a benefit of that for him is he gets to see the kids. So it's a win-win. I don't know. The whole situation is so bizarre. And then you add the ink part to it where it's like, I don't really know what to believe. I don't know who's supporting who. We're supposed to take it all at face value from Mia. I don't trust Mia. So I'm so curious. I never thought I would say that again about this relationship and where it's going to go between Gordon and Mia, Ink and Mia. Like in the past, and I could see why it would wear thin if you're not excited to see where it goes. I am because I have so many goddamn question marks.
So do I. Dark thought, if you'll indulge me.
Always.
They're not divorced. There's probably some inheritance, right?
Ooh, that is dark.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. There's a will.
Maybe.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hey, that's what Mia lives by.
And you know what you need to sign on the dotted line at the bottom of the will? A little bit of ink. There we go. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, we need to move on after that. But we get Gizelle, and I would be remiss not to mention, just because even in seasons that we've hated her, and there have been those, don't worry. But even in those seasons, she is always a great mom. We always appreciate the scenes. We get to see her at the cap and gown ceremony for, is it Angel and Adore, I believe, are about to graduate after this year. So it was just sweet to see that. And they are like, her 3 children, every time we see them on camera, seem extremely well adjusted, very intelligent, very nice people. And you love to see that. And that's a testament to the motherhood, even though she's been shady as fuck with Robin for year after year. That
Was it
is
reasonable or
nice
was
to
it
see.
shady?
It was reasonably shady, somewhere in the middle. Yeah. Heyo.
Although
They're
I
not
did
allowed to.
take,
Didn't they lose the lawsuit against Eminem?
I
They're
think
not
so.
allowed to say it anymore.
I don't know. I did, however, take a unprovoked shot at Jamal during this.
Ooh, why?
For just me personally. I don't know why. I just felt like I was a little ramped up for it, but he was talking about to the best of our knowledge, you guys weren't sneaking out. And Giselle's like, oh no, they snuck out. I immediately go, well, you weren't there, Jamal.
Yeah, how would you know, Jamal? You were in Atlanta. You have no
I don't know
fucking
why I
idea.
did it. I have no problem. Like right now, I have no problems with Jamal because he gave a very nice speech.
Yeah, I
It
have no
seems like his
qualms with
kids
him.
still love him. It seems like he's still there for them. And Giselle is obviously doing a co-parenting thing. And we've pointed out before that she's one of the best moms on Bravo. I don't know why I took a shot at Jamal, but I felt like I needed to.
You know what? Maybe he needed that. He
Yeah.
needed maybe wherever he was in
that.
that moment today when you were watching it, he was like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
someone just
felt
talked
something.
some shit about me. What just happened?" it's old Shooter Magooter in Fairmount. Fuck this guy. How would you know, Jamal?
Come on, Jamal.
But anyway, we get to the morning at Lake Norman, and a question for you, because we got a little bucket list talk about like the skydiving. What's number 1 on your bucket list? What is it?
I don't really have a bucket list.
Well, not literal, but like if you could do one thing before you die that's like extravagant or crazy, what would it be?
Climb Mount Everest.
Really? I would do that too. I would
Yeah.
try that. I think that'd be sick. I would definitely go skydiving, bungee jumping, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like that's a no-brainer. But
Mm-hmm.
what I don't need to ever hear ever again is Ashley reminiscing about having sex with Michael, because the last image I ever need in my head is Michael having sex with anybody. It's
Don't
one
wanna
of the more grotesque images I can think of. That dude's such a weasel. I hated him. He was never even fun for TV, and he's grabbing asses when people aren't
Yeah.
asking him to grab asses. Like he's a fucking gross guy that I thought we'd move past. So
With his
stop talking
old
about
balls.
his old wrinkly balls. Gross.
I mean, yeah, we had to spend years talking about this dude's liver spotted hands grabbing things that he shouldn't be grabbing. Now we got to
Yeah.
think about his old balls, wrinkly, and
Like
what is the
flopping in the
loose-
skydiving breeze, like
loose skin. Trying to do the Big Daddy thing about the old.
Oh, I know. I get it. I know what you're
remember the
doing.
rest of it.
Loose skin and old balls, gross. Something along those lines. And then they see him at Hooters at the end. Is that the guy with the old balls?
Yeah, sure is.
Oh, what a great! I haven't seen that movie in forever. But back to task. Mia's taking everybody tomorrow. This is where I get confused again. And by the way, no shade to contractors, because of course no shade to them because they have nothing to do with this. No shade to chiropractors, but when you present this like I'm gonna go take you ladies tomorrow to one of the first doctor's offices I opened, is misleading. That's extremely misleading because it's a chiropractor, Dr. McDaddy,
Which is a fantastic
the
name.
fucking best name. If there was a Dr. McDaddy near me, whether it's spelled McDaddy or not, because it's like Migdadi or something like that, I would 100% go see Dr. McDaddy for anything. But it's just confusing the way that she phrases things, because she's like, I'm going to take you to the first doctor's office I started. Okay, we do know that you and Gordon had to relinquish control of a lot of the locations that you owned. And again, he was like the head of the board for his company and got demoted by his family and kicked off. You were somehow a part of that, but we're not investing the capital as far as we know. So we don't know if she still has a stake in this place. Was this one of your locations and you know the guys, so you're going to see them, or the woman? I'm not sure if Dr. McDaddy is a man or a woman, but the way that she does things intentionally and why it's hard to take her at word with the Gordon situation and the Inc situation is it's intentionally ambiguous. It's deliberately ambiguous to where it's like, all right, well, What do you mean your doctor? Is this a hospital you're taking us to? Is this a chiropractor? Do you still own it? Is this one of the locations you had to give away? Do you have a hand in this place at all? Or is Dr. McDaddy just a friend of yours? Like, what does this mean? I don't know what it means.
I'm happy that you're taking this approach to it, because my approach to it is I thought this was like a birthday party weekend. What the fuck are we doing here? We're going to a
Oh, I don't
chiropractor?
know. It's so she can brag. I know what she's
She's
doing.
such a loser. She's a big loser, and I'm going to call her out for this every single time that we see it. Nobody gives a shit. This is like, and the posturing on this show is
That's
unmatched.
what it is. It's posturing. Yes.
It's unmatched. Even when Wendy's talking later, we always pointed out it's annoying. We get it, Wendy. You're a professor.
Her posturing's mellowed out a lot.
It has mellowed out, but I'm still going to roll my eyes every single time that you talk about your degrees and the fact that you're a professor. We get it. We know you've been on the show. Stop doing the intro. We know who you are. Stop that. Mia does it any opportunity that she gets. But again, this is supposed to be Wendy's birthday weekend. Last night, you invited all of your weird friends over so that you could take a shot at Karen. Today, you're taking everybody off of the lake instead of planning something fun like a booze cruise, or I know you already did the sunset ride, or I don't know, something fun. Let's
Cornhole.
go to a doctor's office where, by the way, I'm sorry, I'm not going to a chiropractor. I don't think this is like a fun thing. Maybe, you know what? If you owned a spa and you're going to take all the ladies to a spa, there
Correct.
you go. That's fun. That's a good time because it's nice and relaxing, and you're going to need it after this fucking breakfast that we are about to talk about. Don't take them to a place that you opened that's a chiropractor. What a
That
weird
you may or
thing.
may not still be involved with. I don't know.
It's boring is what it is. I don't give a shit about this for the show, for them. I don't care.
Nope, me neither. But you get a FaceTime from Gizelle to Wendy. Love this friendship. And I also love that even after the Karen award show and Wendy didn't show face or even try to at Giselle's, that Gizelle did not hold that against her and allowed for them to continue to see where this friendship went. That's big kudos to Gizelle to see where this could go, because I really like these two together. And I really like Wendy this season because of her different approach that she's taking. This middle of the road, just calling people out and calling everybody out is working for me. But she answers the phone and go 40, it's your birthday is fucking funny. So nice job, Gizelle. But Wendy's talking about her new path in life. In my 40s, I'm trying to be more zen. I'm trying to refocus. I don't want to carry any negative energy. And Jaqueline chimes in and goes, that's good, because when you hold grudges, you turn into a bitter old bitch. Karen's right next to her. I'm like, in this moment, you probably had a similar sentiment. Are you sure you want to take on the Grande Dame like this?
Nope. She can't handle it.
Are you sure? Because before it was, pointing a little bit, the drunk in the morning comment with the phone call. That's one thing. You're throwing a little shade out there. This is taking a full shot against somebody you're ill-equipped to handle. And that's exactly how it shakes out. She cannot take this at all, not even remotely. And stuff starts just falling apart because now Stacey calls her out for what's going on. She's like, you keep attacking Karen and like her situation. Karen's like, whoa, alleged situation. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not alleged. Like, we're so careful on this show to not say things without saying alleged. This is a time you don't have to say alleged. You got a DUI. There are criminal charges against you. The only thing more damning than getting a DUI like this and denying it is admitting to a third one that you did already this episode. So I could talk about that at length. We don't have to. It's just interesting to watch the troops rally around Karen, the newbies. I know Kierna was here last year, but she's still relatively new to the show and friends with Karen. Stacey, friends with Karen off the show. They're so quick to jump in and say, like, give Karen a break. You guys keep coming after Karen. And Karen, this is crazy, but it's only her. Only she could pull it off. She's like, when you walk in your truth, you don't have to worry about anything. I'm like, what? Your truth is a lie. But I genuinely believe that she believes this to be 100% true and therefore does not have to take accountability. And she thinks she's doing right in her mind. That's the hardest part.
She says things like, it will have its day in court. Like, are you sure that you sound excited about that?
I don't want it to go to court.
No, you want to be able to settle outside. You want to be able to have it dismissed. Hence why you applied to have it dismissed. And it got knocked right back down
It
because
got
that appeal
denied
was
like a
denied
month ago.
immediately. So, yes, this is a very weird approach. It's still very funny to me because those little quips will always make me laugh because of where she is and where her stance is on all of this. Anytime, and she is like, she's batting 1,000 right now. Anytime somebody says anything that's a little bit astray, maybe indicating that it was a full DUI, she corrects them immediately. She's on it. I don't
Oh,
care
she doesn't miss a
what,
beat.
I don't know if she's even drinking at this point. She is on it every single time that somebody brings it up. And she
Alleged.
can defend herself. Alleged, exactly. She can defend herself. And I do love, I agree with you, that these people are stepping in. And I don't understand how they don't know what the hell's going on. Kierna, I get because Karen did support her at her lowest moment, which we're going to get into in a second. Stacey is very funny because she's so naive and so oblivious to the fact that this even happened in the first place, which we didn't know. I thought that she was just doing what Kierna was doing and just defending Karen because she's friends with Karen. This was so funny to me, and everything just spirals out of control from here.
Because that's what happens when you back Karen into a corner, because she's always ready. She's always prepared to deflect so she doesn't have to address things that she doesn't want to talk about. But Mia and Kierna start to get into it because Kiana's going to bat for Karen. Mia's obviously trying to take Karen down this year. I think that is the root of a lot of this. I think that's the route that Mia wants to take. And I think that she came into this season with that agenda. That's why we get that scene set up. Like the Joy setup was so clearly a setup. Let's tell funny stories about me. And Joy was ready to drop that bomb that didn't really land. So Kierna is going to bat for Karen. And Mia out of nowhere is like, well, why don't we talk about your drug dealing boyfriend? It's like, whoa. And both you and I thought the same thing. Like, you leave Greg out of this shit. And we're talking about past and calling out her past. And she quickly flips it back. It's like, well, what about your past? And we get a very different story out of me. Well, I'm a self-made millionaire. Look at me now. She calls her out for being a stripper. And all right, yeah, she was a stripper. So
Mia owns it. I'll give her that.
She owns that. Like, there is nothing wrong with
does.
that. Yeah, she always owns that part of her life. But she goes back at her with, okay, stitches, and points to her head. And as we know, because of the altercation last year with Sesame Street, she had to get stitches on her head. It's still a very sensitive topic. And we get out of left field. We don't need to harp on people's past. And this is where Wendy is great. Because Wendy's like, whoa, 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 whoa. We can harp on people's past, like the drug dealing boyfriend, but we can't flip the script. Like, no, that's not going to work. She's literally just sitting there mediating amongst everybody, just calling out the bullshit, which if ever there was a show that needed that person to just be like, whoa, 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 that's horseshit. You can't play the same card she just played and they get mad at it. This show is the show that needs it because we get a lot of people throwing stones in glass houses. And I love that Wendy, and the most unassuming hero of all, I never thought she would take on that role, and it'll probably shift along the road.
I'm sure it will. I think this is more because of what we saw the night before where Wendy said she wanted a drama-less day for her birthday. Maybe she's just trying to keep the peace, but and look, I do like this approach because you can't always just fully keep the peace, but you can at least mediate and say, well, if you're going to do that, she's allowed to do that as well. That's how this is going to work. So you can't just throw stones and say that you didn't do something because I'm sitting here watching this and Mia's not necessarily picking sides. She's just calling out the bullshit, which I can appreciate. What I can appreciate, what the fuck is Ashley doing?
I don't know. This was so weird. Why would you chime in here? Is she trying to like smooth things over? Does she think that they're cool? Is this a way to bridge the gap? This was so bizarre. You are not supposed to comment.
You are not supposed to comment. And I don't know. I've been trying to wrap my head around it since I watched it. Is she trying to be a friend to Kierna and bridge the gap? Is she trying to say, do you have a scar? Because I can't see it. So that means that whatever skincare you're using is the appropriate skincare to get rid of a scar. And you're doing a great job and you look great. It was probably, if that's what she's doing and that's what she was trying to do, she went about it with the wordiest answer, the wordiest approach, which does not do you any favors because as soon as you bring it up, you're part of this, you idiot. You
are the reason because of your dumbass friend hit her with a fucking glass because you brought her on board and she was a disaster in every sense of the word. Ashley's weird friends were arguably the reason this show sucked for 2 years,
Yeah.
because we had to deal with these people that were not fit for TV, that were throwing out baseless claims, creating fake storylines with no regard for people's real lives. We had to watch Chris get fucking dragged by Gizelle for an entire season, and then Deborah jumps on board that he was eyeing her up at the bar. Thank God we have video footage. I don't want to go back to that. That was one of the worst seasons ever. But yeah, Ashley, you don't get to chime in because you're the reason that she has a scar on her head for bringing Deborah around. So no. And her reaction, Kierna's reaction, is 100% warranted. And she bounces from the table and screams at Ashley, like, you of all people don't get to fucking talk about this. And Ashley to go in a confessional and then say to other people, like, I was literally just commenting on her skincare. I don't understand why she got so upset about it. And Jazzy was like, there's clearly a scar. Like, do you look at her face? She's like, of course I look at her face.
You have glasses? Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
I loved that question. Do you wear glasses? No, I don't wear glasses. Well, maybe you should, because there's clearly a scar
like,
there.
it's right there, you dumbass. And you just called it out. And like, it's clearly a point of insecurity for Kierna that she has to live with this thing due to your stupid friend. Yep. So no, Ashley, even if you're trying to smooth it over, take a different approach, because you guys, there was room for that. We've seen Kierna on the boat was not like, she's not steadfast against Ashley. She understands the situation. She's upset with Ashley, but there was a bridge there to potentially mend something and move forward amicably. I don't know if it's still there, but it's good for Kierna to see that and understand like who she's dealing with, because Ashley speaks out of 8 different sides of her mouth. You never know what to trust.
It could have been as simple as condemning Mia for saying that, because what Mia said was deplorable. Calling her bitches is awful. If Ashley had stood up for Kierna, and then Kierna's reaction was, maybe you shouldn't talk about that, then okay, then you shut your mouth. But if you stand up for her, maybe that's a way back in. Maybe that's a way to be, maybe it's a way to apologize and actually be forgiven. Instead, you could have just let that lie and just kept your mouth shut, and she would have gone after Mia, and everybody else would have registered, because before it even had a chance to register with everybody, Ashley's talking about it. And the only person at the table that can't talk about it is Ashley. So I don't know what the hell she was trying to do, because usually Ashley's a little more calculated. Like, yes, she's a lot messier than I think people give credit for, because she, comes across as calculated, but I just don't understand what her approach was there. Was she trying to defend her? Was she trying to deflect? Was she trying to alleviate the situation? I have no idea how she got involved in that way, when there's only one approach there, and it's to just keep your mouth shut. That's what you have to do, because Mia becomes public enemy number 1 for saying that. And Mia's not going to catch shit for that, because she just doesn't care enough. And if people go after Mia, she'll just let it roll right off of her, because she can move on to the next thing.
She doesn't care. And Ashley just gave her a way out, because now the attention's on you instead of the person that called her stitches, who should be getting called out. But you decided to get involved weirdly.
Yep.
And now we take a big left turn, and now Mia's unscathed. Once again, Mia skates by without any ramifications. And even more so, because now Karen's going to get involved and bring up something about Jaqueline, because she still has a vendetta against Jaqueline because of the "you called me drunk in the morning" comment. And she goes, I'm going to get messy for a second. Just for a quick second. Is that all right, ladies? I'm going to get messy real quick.
Never good.
Aren't you trying to work it out with Mr. PP? And we've met Mr. PP. Didn't love Mr. PP. But she takes this step further, because she's like, yeah, we're co-parenting. We're trying to figure it out. Our relationship is whatever. It was a confusing explanation.
She's never good at explaining things. That's
she's
part
not.
Of Jacqueline's downfall.
She's really actually horrible at it and makes the situation seem much worse than it actually might be. Yeah. But then Karen's like, well, did you stand by him after the 25 convictions? And I just wrote down in all caps, what? Like, what the fuck happened with this guy? And come to find out, there was I guess he's a cop. There was an internal investigation. He was found guilty. He was fired from his position, but now he has a different position at the police department. This is what I've gathered from it. And Karen's like, well, did you stand by him through it? So now Karen's giving her shit for her man getting 25 convictions, and then tries to go a step further and say, and then you left him high and dry. You didn't even stand by him. And Mia goes to her defense in a confessional. She's like, no, she did, like, to her own fault, honestly, because he did her dirty. She stuck by him. He got convicted. She stuck by him. Like, she is, for all intents and purposes, loyal. And we can attest to that. Seeing how she is with Mia, you can call her a lot of things. Disloyal does not seem to be one of them. If she cares about somebody, she's clearly too loyal to a fault. So that makes sense with if it's not a great situation with Mr. PP. Seeing how she is with Mia, okay, that all tracks.
Yeah.
But again, Wendy, mediator's like, all right, timeout. We can point out the drug dealer, but we can't point out the convictions with Jaqueline. So Mia, you were gonna talk shit about Kierna's drug dealer ex-boyfriend in the past, but we're not supposed to bring up the past according to you. And you also want to drag Kierna for having a past, but you haven't even mentioned before the fact that Jaqueline's current co-parent has 25 convictions. Like that's, you can't play both sides of the street here. So again, and she's doing it in a way that people aren't getting mad at Wendy. She's just pointing things out. It's great. It's fantastic. But I just don't know how she's doing it and doing it so well. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it almost as much as I enjoy the next confessional of Karen with fucking boxing gloves on. And I'm like, you are denying DUIs. You are pointing fingers at everybody else. You're an absolute fucking mess. And yet you are still so enjoyable to watch on TV. And that's hard to do. That's very difficult to do, especially when you have a DUI hanging over your head and not your first, but your second. And yet she's still the Grande Dame.
It's unbelievable that she's able to pull all this off. And look, we just talked about prop work in OC with Alexis's failed prop work with the Clorox or the wipes or whatever the fuck that she brought. This is great prop work.
This is
the
successful
fact that we went. It's not like Karen knew that in Mia's confessional, she said that she shows up like it's a boxing match. Karen just had some beautiful white boxing gloves lying around right for her confessional.
I imagine production brought them, but yeah.
I don't think so. I choose to not believe that. You will not
I like
get
your
me
version
today,
better.
sir.
No, that's fine.
Karen's got those laying around and she's ready to go with the props, and I love it that she's sitting there just swatting away, talking about how great she is at doing all of this, which is even more funnier because she doesn't have the perspective of, hey, I'm going through something right now. I'm boxing all these people off of me. She still thinks that she's the victim in all of this and she's going to come out on top. That's the type of delusion that I root for because I love that.
No, it is. But the thing that's the crazy part is the gravity of what she's saying. Like, she's attacking their ability to co-parent, like what kind of mom that Jaqueline may or may not be. Like she's going really low, like really low. And out of nowhere, Karen's army, fucking Stacey's like accusing someone of being drunk while they're fighting for their life is awful. Like this is defamation and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, up until this point, I'm under the impression that Stacey knows everything, which made it even more confusing to me. I'm like, yeah, maybe you don't want to hitch your wagon to this argument. It doesn't seem like the best possible route for you, Stacey. Like it seems like a dangerous game to play. But as they split off from the table, you get two groups. You get Karen, Wendy, and Stacey. And then you get Mia and she's with Ashley. And then Stacey joins that conversation as well. But Karen is literally walking these girls through how to operate as a housewife. Yeah. You always have to have your ammunition ready to clap back at all times. This is how you do it, girls. Pay attention, take notes. This is how you deflect with the best of them. This is why I'm the Grande Dame and will continue to be the Grande Dame, is because you can't pin anything on me. This is my second DUI and I'm winning these fights somehow. Like, so take notes.
Well, they did also, and I think the night before when Mia and Jaqueline are standing around talking about Karen, they're saying she's probably in her room right now, going through her phone, looking up and digging up evidence so that she can use that on us later.
Bloggers.
Yeah, and she's contacting all of her bloggers to find everything out so that she can come after us. She's not ready to come after Mia yet because Jaqueline still just needs to get skewered because she is on a much lower level, and she's going to go after Jaqueline, and that's exactly what she did here. She came ready the next morning with something that she probably found out the night before. That's exactly what she did. And to hear her say it to the other housewives, this is what you have to do and you have to be ready, is even funnier because she's just admitting that she did all of that because she knew that they were going after her. It's hilarious. I love it in a way that only Karen can do.
That's how you have contingencies. That's how you take care of arguments and not get put in a corner without an out. Karen always has an out. So you get to Mia with Ashley and Stacey, and they have because it is public record. So they pulled up the charges against Karen. Again, criminal court. This is not civil court. This is a criminal charge. And they're reading off all of the charges. And Stacey joins and she's like, why are you this is when I thought she still knew, right? She's like, why are you guys so hard on Karen? And they're like, because she doesn't own her shit. Like, she needs to address the fact that she has this shit going on. And she's like, what are you talking about? And they're like, look. And they show her, and Stacey, again, living in blissful ignorance or naive, whatever you want to call it, is so taken aback and throttled by this whole thing. She's like, oh my God, it's charge after charge after charge, reckless endangerment, endangering the lives of others, like damage to property, all of these allegations against Karen. And she's floored and she's like, what the fuck? And then the other women are like, we think that she needs to go to rehab, which is obviously a sensitive subject, but I will always, when you get 2 DUIs, that conversation's on the table, especially if multiple women in the group are saying she calls me drunk in the morning, right? And this whole thing shakes out. And then Stacey is so taken aback, she takes it upon herself to go over to Karen. And I'm glad she has this stance, because I was worried she was just going to be a yes woman the whole time to Karen. Like, I'm your friend, I got your back. She goes to her and she's like, I defended you. And they showed me all of these charges and I will defend you. But what the fuck's going on? Mid-sentence. Those are allegations.
She's so on it. That's what I'm saying. Even now, when she doesn't expect her friend, somebody who has been defending her since day one, to come downstairs and drop all of this on her, she's still on it. She is still ready.
She doesn't miss a beat.
Correct.
She's never frazzled either.
I just have no idea. And yeah, she's not rattled at all. She's very calm sitting there. I thought about this the entire time. If any normal person was in this scenario, they would have cracked immediately.
Yep.
Karen has been able to stay calm the entire time at breakfast, people going after her all last night. And even now, when somebody throws a wrinkle in there, she's still so calm that she can correct her vernacular and say, allegedly,
allegations, the truth will prevail.
It's incredible.
It's remarkable. It is truly so weird to watch, only because it's like, what you're doing is gross, honestly. Like, you're denying any involvement in a DUI. Like, at the very least, you should take some account. You're not going to be damnified in court by taking accountability, right? Like, you can cop to the fact that, yeah, I woke up behind the wheel of a car up against a fucking tree and I was under the influence, whether that's medical or not, because I'm sure that was probably what she was trying to do through the court by getting it thrown out, or attempting to get it thrown out, was, I'm on medications. That's what it was. I wasn't drunk. But some sort of, I fucked up would go so far, but that's just not her. And the way that
now
she's
I don't
able to
want her to do it, though. I never
now
want
I
her to do
don't.
it.
She needs to hold on to it. And I never thought, because look, again, the situation is not great. And it's arguably reprehensible what she's doing, by just being like, nah, not my fault. But she's doing it in only a way that the Grande Dame could, to continue to make entertaining, funny television, to where you're like,
keep it up.
And it's so weird. Like, I never thought I'd be saying anybody else. I'd be like, you fucking stuck. Like, you gotta admit this and cop to this. It's like, no,
It's
for
so
some
funny.
reason. And that's also assuming that it goes through due process and she does get the ramification she deserves, because she should be held liable for everything that she did and the crimes that she committed, and pay the penalty through the court of law. Firmly believe that. At the same time, watching her do this dance of allegedly for a whole season is going to be entertaining to see what kind of narrative she can spin, how she can throw dirt. Imagine what she's going to dig up on people and try to use against them, knowing that what they're coming at her for. She's not going to pull any punches.
I just love the two of these, the two very different personalities interacting at the end of the show, where Stacey is so wholesome. We see the conversations that she has with TJ. We see the
guy she can't physically touch.
And the actual, like, the genuine shock and awe on her face, and like disgust, listening to Mia and Jaqueline talk, reading the court documents, scurrying downstairs to go have a real sit down with Karen. And you just see Karen laughing it off, correcting her vernacular, saying allegedly. And then as she continues all the way down the path to say, they want all of us to take you to rehab. We think that you need that. And Karen sitting there laughing and taking it like, no,
You know what she
we're not going to
says?
do any of this.
She says the court will have its day.
I
They
know.
will. I don't think it's going to go the way you think it
Incredible.
is, but the court will have its day, and that's her sticking point. Is I'm
God,
not
it's
liable.
incredible.
It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. But yes, it does work. Let's get to some questions and finish this bad boy off. What do you say?
Oh, yeah.
Up first. Oh, interesting. From M Perham 0330. Why is Mia still on our screens? Do you want her off? She works on this show for us, or at least for me.
I can see why people get annoyed with her. I mean, I do think that she's like not a good person, but
No, not at all.
now it's working. So I'm not really that upset with it. And I was one of the biggest Mia haters for a long time. I feel like she's rounded out, mostly because she stopped doing that iconic bullshit.
Yeah. I agree with that. Let's see. Oh, this is news to me. I haven't been keeping up with the current events. From M. Nerino. Do we think the Mia and Ink breakup is real? She unfollowed him. I don't know. I doubt it. She would definitely do that for camera time.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Interesting.
One thing
Go
here.
ahead.
Wait, one thing here from Max June said, should Ashley leave this trip? Before I watched this episode, there were a lot of people claiming that Ashley needs to get off the show, that they're tired of her. I didn't think, I thought it was kind of funny that she stepped in there and just got absolutely roasted by Kierna.
Yeah,
and she deserved it. There are times when I do say, you know what, I'm tired of Ashley. She needs to go. But this isn't one of them. And I didn't really understand all of the hate that she was getting, because I thought she was going to do something way worse.
Yeah, I did too. I don't know. I mean, she has her moments. Like you keep her around for when it works, and you understand that a lot of the time she's going to irritate you. But I don't think that she is on the chopping block by any means. I think she's like a necessary evil, because sometimes what she's good at, honestly, is pretending to play neutral and stirring the pot when you need her to. Like she'll come in, like, with the GNA event, like that part where she's like, oh, she did say 8 o'clock. It's 8:03. See ya. And being able to take not only Giselle's side, but then run out to the car with a QR code. Like she's there. And when it works, it works. And you have to deal with the shit that doesn't, which is a lot of it. But I don't think she has to go anywhere. Let's see. I did this, yes, and this is a good follow-up from J Bay the Hut 713. Do y'all miss Candace verbally dragging Ashley on a regular basis too? Yeah, that was the checks and balances of Ashley when Candace was around, being able to really call out Ashley on her shit. So yes, I do miss that.
Yeah, I do, but I also don't think there were other times where Candace couldn't really handle it. So, it's probably better for her to not be on the show. I think that you're starting to see that other people are holding Ashley accountable, and it's probably going to be newbies too. If the newbies do it because they don't know any better. And again, I never really understood why people didn't hold Ashley accountable. There's nothing to really be afraid of. It's not
Maybe
like
that's why. Like, it's not worth their time almost.
Yeah, it might honestly be that. But I think she was held accountable very much so today. So yeah, I'm all right with that.
From Face of the Angel, do you think Stacey did any research before she signed on, or is this cluelessness an act? She did zero research, and this is not an act. She must not read the news. She must not have any tabloids or anything on any of her socials. I watch
no
any
idea.
of the shows.
I have no idea how she did not know that.
To keep it in tune and keep it in theme of this show, she's like a deer in the headlights. Like she has no clue what's going on, and it is making for a fantastic performance to see somebody legitimately caught off guard at every turn. Let's do 2 more.
I love Rags pointing out, did you also get defensive of Greg when Mia called out her drug dealer boyfriend? Yes. We pointed it out 3 times so far, and we will continue to. Greg, we love Greg.
Leave Greg alone.
Please.
All right. Last one from DNCN_G. Why can't Jaqueline win an argument? Because she gets lost. She gets frazzled, she gets rattled, and she might have a good point and might be speaking the truth. Does not matter, because she takes 16 left turns and ends up backwards. And then she runs legitimately, will go around the table and sit next to Mia and make Mia do her dirty work for her. And in turn, Mia throws her under the bus while defending her. And then it furthers the whole thing of Mia's sidekick. She cannot stay on task. She gets too rattled, too frazzled. And if she's gonna learn how to work that muscle of being able to argue and hold her own, you cannot aim for the Grande Dame first. You need to go somewhere else with that argument because you will not win. The most seasoned veterans will not win against Karen because her truth is her truth, even if it's not true. And that's impossible to argue against, especially when she's got ammo behind it, which she always will because she's always ready, for better or worse. So yeah, Jaqueline is hopeless, honestly. Like she can't.
Absolutely hopeless.
Yeah, but other than that, great season. Thank God. I'm so glad Potomac's back. It's music to my ears. It is feeding my soul. I needed it to be good again.
You did.
You know how upset I was when it got bad? I was so sad. I love Potomac. It's my favorite franchise, and they're back on track. And this is why I love Potomac, because this is what they can do. And it's fucking great. So good job, ladies. Keep it up. I'm all in. Even Mia, who I really don't care for, she's doing great. So I know people are give and take on her, but I don't have any notes for this show right now. I think it's great. They need to keep doing exactly what they're doing. I will say, notice the lack of Gizelle this episode. It was a great episode, but I think it would have been even better. But maybe that's a testament to the show being better, as Gizelle wasn't there, and it was a fantastic. This is the best episode of Potomac we've had in, I think, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it could have been a lot different if she was there. I don't know if it would have been better or worse, but she wasn't, and it was still entertaining. So I'm good with it.
Yeah, I agree. But other than that, you got anything else?
Nope.
No, bros are out of here.
Bye.